do not be a lukewarm Christian. Do not be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, for that is preventing you from going into your new season. It is better for you to put your trust in the Lord than it is for you to put your confidence in man. Greetings once again and welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back. Now, our topic for today says that be careful of the people that you have in your circle, right? And there's also a proverb that goes by saying that, you know what, your enemy, your most dangerous enemy is not someone who's far, but it is someone who is close. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. And this is going to rub some feathers so that at the end of the video, you're going to look back and start asking yourself, am I really safe with the people that I have in my circle, right? But for you to find out more, stick around. Now, if you're watching this message on YouTube, just keep in mind that you are now available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Overcast, as well as on Amazon Music. And you can be sure to follow us as well on those different platforms. Now, let's open our Bibles and open the book of 2 Kings chapter 12, verse 20 and 21, right? That's where we're going to get the context for our message today. And the following verses reads as follows. And his servants arose and made a conspiracy, and slew Joash in the house of Milo, which goeth down to Selah. 21. For Josachar the son of Shimeath, and Jehozabad the son of Shomer, his servants, smote him, and he died. And they buried him with his fathers in the city of David, and Amaziah his son reigned in his stead. Now, like we said, guys, your most dangerous enemy is not someone who's far, but someone who is close. And as we just read here in the Bible, we now realize that actually your enemy is not someone who's far. Your enemy is closer than you think. And here we realize that the servants smote the king, right? Now, just keep that in mind. The servants conspired against the king, and they say, the Bible tells us that, and they formed a conspiracy and then they slew the king, right? And that is just something I want us to keep in mind. The servants of the king, the ones who knew his going ins and his going outs, the ones who knew where he slept, the ones who knew where his next move was going to be, the ones who knew what he was eating on a specific day, the ones who knew his every move, they are the ones that made a conspiracy against the king. And the Bible records and tells us that, and they slew him. So what we get from this point, guys, is that we realize, do not be naive and think that just because they are in your circle, they are not going to make plans in order to slay you, right? If they could make a plan to slay the king, what more you? And this is what we realize in the Bible. If they could make a plan to slay the king, what more you? Now, going against the king was regarded as treason, right? So these guys, the servants of the king, they took that risk to say, you know what, we might be caught and this might be called treason. And the Bible records that, you know what, in those days, if you were caught for such an act of treason, it says that you were going to be slayed, right? Your head was going to be cut off. But these guys, they say, you know what, we don't care about that. We are just going to go on about it, and we're going to form our plan, and we're going to say, you know what, form a conspiracy against the king so that we can take him down, guys. So this is just something I want us to keep in mind. The servants made a conspiracy. They took the lance, they took the risk to say, you know what, our lives are at stake, but we are going to go forth with this plan. So what more someone who doesn't regard you as a king? What more when you yourself, you are not a king? When you yourself, you are not of any royalty on this earth, right? What more of that? How then would someone treat you, right? Now, going further, guys, we then take our Bibles to the book of John chapter 13, verse 21. And Jesus, in speaking to them, he says that, verily, verily, I say unto you, one of you is going to betray me today. And his spirit was troubled when he says that one of you is going to betray me today. Now, this is when Jesus was speaking to his disciples, people that were in his inner circle, people that were close to him. And Jesus was saying at this time that, you know what, one of you is going to betray me. So I just want us to keep these things in mind, guys. If they could also betray Jesus, if a human being could also betray Jesus, right? What more you as well, guys? So I just want us to keep these things in mind as we go on about your life, right? Do not just be naive and think to yourself, you know what, nothing of that sort is going to happen to me. For you do not know what a man thinketh. The Bible also goes further to say that the heart is deceitful, for who may know it, right? So these things I want us to keep in mind, guys. That also, don't be naive and think to yourself, you know what, that is just something that is foreign to me. Something like that is not going to happen to me, guys. But if they could betray the king, if they could also betray Jesus, guys, and these were not people which were far off, these were people that were in his circle. I just want you to keep that in mind. These were people that were in his circle. So just keep that in mind, guys, as you go on about your life. If they could betray Jesus, if they could betray the king, what more you? Now, before we go further, if you have not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you do not miss when a new video pops up, right? Now, in conclusion, now let's say you have already been betrayed, right? Let's say you have already been betrayed and you're seeing this message and you're thinking to yourself, I should have seen this message before they betrayed me and all those things. I want to tell you today, Psalms chapter 118 verse 8, it then goes further to say that it is better to trust in the Lord than to put your confidence in man. So now that they have betrayed you, now you know the results of that, right? But do not be weary. Do not look at yourself and feel sorry for yourself. But now start putting your trust in the Lord. Make God your circle, right? Make God the person that he is in your inner circle, right? For he will never betray you. And that is just the message that we have today. It is better. David says it is better for you to put your trust in the Lord than it is for you to put your confidence in man. And that is just the end of our message for today. So as we wrap this up, just keep in mind, if you have been betrayed before, keep in mind that, you know what, it is now better for me to trust in the Lord than to put my confidence in man. And that is just the end of our message for today. May God bless you. God can revive your hopeless situation. Whatever it is that people have said, this is beyond us, there is a God who says that I am a God of impossible.